name, where they're from, and their question for MVP.
How you doing, Pete? I'm Sean. Sean from Houston. My question is, so I know you as the first IC champion in New Japan. So I've always wondered, so when you carried that title in Japan as a man of color, how did they treat you overseas? Like, was there any difference, or how was that your experience?
I'll say this, the New Japan locker room treated me exceptionally well. And part of that was the fact that they knew, all right, let me go back a little bit. I asked for my release from WWE. A lot of people thought that I got fired. I actually had a year left on my deal, but I was just kind of fed up with the politics and the backstage nonsense. And I was losing my passion for wrestling. It had become a job, very well paid job. But I became a pro wrestler because I didn't want to have a job. And my dream was always to wrestle in Japan. WWE was my goal. New Japan Pro Wrestling was my dream. The WrestleMania was a goal. Wrestle Kingdom was my dream. So I had a year left on my deal, and I asked for my release because I wanted to go to wrestle in Japan and recharge my batteries. I wanted to reignite my passion for pro wrestling. So everybody in New Japan knew that MVP quit WWE to come to New Japan. And as you said, you knew me from back then. That's before people were leaving WWE to go to Japan like that. I was one of the first ones to do it in the modern era and make it popular. And so the New Japan locker room already had some measure of respect for me because I came there and I was a fan of everybody. So I wasn't some American guy who got fired and came to New Japan because I needed a job. I came there because I was a fan of the company, a fan of the history, a fan of the work. So one of my all-time favorites, the great Tenzan, I'll never forget, he said, MVP-san, why you go to New Japan? I said, because I want to wrestle with you, and I want to wrestle with Makabe, and I want to wrestle with all the guys here. And he goes, really? Why? And it was just my passion. So the office treated me great. The boys treated me great. In Japan, there are definitely some cultural things that are a little different, being a person of color. So usually in Tokyo, or the main cities, Nagoya, you're all right. But when you went out into some of the more rural areas, some of the smaller municipal gyms, there were times me and Shelton would joke about it when I brought him over to be my tag team partner. We would be walking together to some tiny town in Japan, and we say, man, there's not another person that looks like us for hours. And you could tell the way that people would look at us. And Shelton even made the joke one day, we were walking through this mall promenade, and they were either curious or terrified. And Shelton said, man, you know what I feel like? So you know how when there's a pit bull running around with no leash and everybody's just looking at somebody responsible? That's what I feel like. And I was like, yeah. Because even we'd walk past women and they'd either be like, ooh, or ee. So my time in Japan was magnificent. Everybody treated me great. I had a good time. However, I will say this. There are places in Japan that are Japanese only. Foreigners are not allowed. So sometimes after a show, the sponsors would take us out for dinner and drinks, we'd have a good time. And then they'd get ready to go to the next spot. And I used to feel so bad for Gato, because Gato would come up, MVP, maybe now you go back to the hotel. So now I want to go with you guys. Sorry, next place, Japanese only. I'm like, oh, okay, all right, no problem. I'll go find my own place and hang out, But it wasn't no dogs, no Italians, it was only Japanese. So I didn't feel as bad about that. But that was the only experience that I had, where there was blatant I don't even want to say racism because it's nationalism. Because the Japanese, they treat the Chinese bad. They treat the Koreans bad. If you're not Japanese, so that was my experience with that.